Payback Sunday night, the WWE, in my opinion, had a tough act to follow after NXT TakeOver on Thursday night. I thought that was a really solid, well put together piece of wrestling special event or pay per view. And with all the other stuff and attention and mainstream negative publicity the WWE's been receiving over the past few weeks for their business practices, what have you, pressure was really on for this company to produce and to deliver a really good quality show. And if you don't like to think about your wrestling at all in any way, sense of the word, if you like to justify and be entertained by anything and everything pertaining to one of your favorites, regardless of how good or bad it is, if you like to try and outflank everybody and play this devil's advocate and make ridiculous excuses for piss poor WWE booking, and or love a bunch of spots in your matches that may or may not make a lot of sense, then this was the show for you, and freaking Payback really delivered. Sadly, I don't fit into any of those categories. I thought the show sucked. The United States Championship match between Cesaro and Sheamus felt like it could have been a whole lot more than it frankly was. It was solid in the sense that it opened the show off in an okay manner. Now, I could sit here and talk about, of course, Sheamus won here, but here's what I'll say. They didn't have him win via freaking row kick, so I'm okay with that. Cesaro at least got one or two over on Sheamus in the build-up to this match, so again, I'm okay with this decision. And maybe this will actually lead to something bigger for Cesaro, maybe in a few weeks, something bigger than the United States Championship. And again, I'm okay with that. I figured once they announced that we were getting Rybaxel versus Rhodes Brothers, two things were going to happen. One, Rybaxel was going to win, and we were going to get some type of, I don't know if you want to call it twist or storyline advancement between Cody and Goldust. And we got both of those. And you know what? I'm okay with what they did. Instead of just having Cody turn on Goldust, which would have been predictable and wouldn't have really worked at this point, in my opinion, or maybe even having Goldust turn on Cody Rhodes, which I think would be more intriguing and perhaps the better way to go. I love how they went to that option C, and they're actually having Cody Rhodes play the role of somebody that's unsure of himself and lacking confidence in himself and not confident in his abilities and saying to his brother that he deserves a better tag team partner. You're actually, by God, making a babyface vulnerable. By God, actually trying to get people more behind the babyface. This is where I actually hope it leads to Cody Rhodes staying babyface, because they've actually got a little something here. This was one of the things on this show that I actually really liked. They went in a different direction than what I expected, and I was pleased with the results. I'm curious to see where they go with this from here. I do have to confess I was a little bit surprised with Rusev versus Biggie. The match was a little bit better than I anticipated it being. I thought that Biggie's spot of going through the second rope into Rusev was actually pretty damn cool and very surprising, and it caught the crowd off guard. I was also caught off guard by the fact that Lana's not even introducing Rusev anymore. They're really starting to already go down the Mark Merrill Sable path with these two. They are showcasing Lana. Why not have Rusev if he's going to be fucking living in Russia now and she's going to be talking about their great leader, Vladimir Putin? Why not have Rusev wear a freaking Putin t-shirt? I'm just throwing that out there. I wish they would do something different with Rusev's finisher instead of the fucking camel clutch. That's the one thing. It just aggravates the shit out of me. One of the things that really pissed me off on this show is I thought we were actually going to get a match between Kofi and Bo Dallas. But instead they chose this opportunity to have Kane come out and steamroll through Kofi Kingston. Why? Why was this fucking needed? You know, you could have had Kofi lose to Bo Dallas in some bullshit fashion. That would have been one thing. But just to have Kane come out and freaking wipe out Kofi? Why? For what? Of all the people you could have done it with, why did it have to be Kofi? If you're going to do it with a black guy, use JTG for God's sakes. You're not using him for any damn thing else. If you're going to sit there and use it with another guy, use it with somebody like Zack Ryder or something, for God's sakes. You know, the whole thing with Bo Dallas, I thought they missed out on an opportunity here. You know, he comes back in afterwards and talks about Bo leaving. No, Bo Dallas should have sat there and capitalized on this opportunity and pinned Kofi Kingston 1, 2, 3 and cut a huge promo talking about, you know, it seems like the odds are insurmountable, but you can do whatever you want if you just set your mind to it and if you believe. Imagine that. God, what a corny character this guy could be. And it could be freaking awesome. At least bad news, Barrett pinned RVD 100% clean in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3 to retain his Intercontinental Championship. That's a good thing. The bad news, of course, is that they still haven't given Wade Barrett anything of any real substance or consequence since he became the Intercontinental Champion. For God's sakes, this is the type of character, to me, that especially needs some type of feud or person to play off of. You got to give Wade Barrett someone and something to play off of for this thing to fully take off. It's kind of taking off already. Imagine if you gave him a storyline, a feud, a rivalry with some purpose, some meaning, some reason. How much more effective he could be as a character and how much more over he would get as a character. Stop with these random-ass IC title matches with a guy like Wade Barrett as the Intercontinental Champion. And of course, Stephanie McMahon had laid out the ultimatum on Raw this week that Daniel Bryan had the ultimate decision to make here on Payback. Either surrender his WWE World Heavyweight Championship or she would fire Brie Bella. Now, I understand a ton of you are huge Daniel Bryan fans. I also understand, whether you will admit it or not, you will like most everything that he is involved with regardless, maybe with the occasional exception. But I thought this whole segment was stupid and relatively pointless. Now, I know, again, that a lot of you love this guy, and you have reasons that you legitimately should love this guy. And I also understand, too, that the WWE is kind of in a sticky situation here. They maybe had some plans of something to do with Daniel Bryan as the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and for situations and circumstances out of their control, they kind of had to put him on the back burner, and they're kind of in a wait-and-see mode, which creates a bit of a dilemma and a bit of a problem of what to do with that title. I get all of that. But it just seems like the WWE lacks the creative originality to be able to make this in any way, shape, or form compelling, at least to me. You know, this whole thing of, well, you've got a decision to make. Why even fucking bother if you're going to say, well, she's fucking with them? Well, just fuck with them if you want, and then you get here to the pay-per-view and say, hey, you know what? It's been about 30 days since you last defended. You can't defend. You're not going to be able to defend anytime soon. We're stripping you of the damn title, and that's that. Oh, and by the way, Brie, you're fired. You know, something like that. Instead, it seemed like yet another instance where a woman being involved in a storyline involving Daniel Bryan hurts Daniel Bryan's character because it takes away the emphasis and the focus from Daniel Bryan. What I'm referring to is the stuff involving AJ Lee, if you remember that. Some of the stuff that has involved Stephanie McMahon, and now here the stuff involving Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella. Here is Daniel Bryan, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and we seem more interested in continuing a storyline between Brie Bella, the Bella with the smaller boobies, and Stephanie McMahon. The only one thing that saved this entire segment, and one thing only, Stephanie. It wasn't in the front, so that can't be taint sweat. Did you shart on yourself? Apparently you must have asked Hunter about what the back door to China was like, and he showed you how he gets in there. She sharted on her dress. Butt sweat, Stephanie. What can I say about this John Cena-Bray Wyatt feud and some of their matches that I haven't already said? Well, I don't know. But here's what I want to say about this last man standing match. This was an overbooked piece of shit, even worse than the match at Extreme Rules. If I wanted to watch a glorified six-man tag, I would tune into Raw and watch these guys wrestle a six-man tag. And again, I emphasize, just because a match has spots does not automatically equate to it being a good freaking match. And at the end of the day, with all of these people talking all this dumb bullshit about how shit is changing and it's a new generation and a new era for the WWE, this is ultimately more of the same old shit. Stop fooling yourself. Stop trying to outflank everybody with your devil's advocate-ness that makes you sound like a fucking moron. Stop trying to be different just for the sake of being different without having a real reason to be different. This, at the end of the day, was more of the same old shit. Here we go. Here's a couple of things I want to point out about this. Number one, we love the spotlight that this gave the Usos. The same spotlight from earlier this year when they were wrestling in main event matches on Raw, only to not even have a match on the main WrestleMania card. Same spotlight that they got from wrestling Batista and Randy Orton. What spotlight does this ultimately really bring the Usos? They didn't even have a tag match on this card. They may or may not even have a tag match on the next card. And if it is, it more likely than not ends up being the pre-show match. Some spotlight. Furthermore, I need to address this stupidity of this match told a great story. What story did it tell? It told the story of how no matter what odds, no matter what bullshit, at the end of the day, nobody can beat John Cena one-on-one 100% clean in the WWE. And even when you throw in bullshit and you throw in these stipulations, John Cena still reigns supreme. This was yet another clear-cut example of serving up another young talent so that way they could be made into John Cena's jobber bitch, so that way they can make John Cena look good. And that's exactly what happened here. And to the idiots that sit there and say, well, this loss didn't hurt Bray Wyatt, it helped them. What the fuck planet are you living on? Get your head out of your asses. Stop trying to sit there and say, well, since everybody else hates John Cena, I'm going to like and defend it, and here's why. It's not just the fact of John Cena being a babyface that a lot of people resent. It really isn't much to do with that at all. It's what John Cena represents. It's what the WWE does with John Cena. It's how they consistently, persistently pound him down our fucking throats. Thinking in some way, shape, or form that is going to translate into more money into the hashtag ass pocket of everybody involved with the WWE, when recent evidence clearly indicates that that is not the case. Here is a guy that actually beat Daniel Bryan 100% clean on his own at the Royal Rumble. The same Daniel Bryan that, oh, by the way, is the Breakfast Club killer that beat John Cena at SummerSlam to win the WWE Championship. The guy that's beat Triple H, Dave Batista, and Randy Orton in the same fucking night. Hashtag Breakfast Club killer. Bray Wyatt beat him. But yet in this whole feud with John Cena, he couldn't beat him in a glorified 3-on-1 match at WrestleMania 30, but that somehow helped him. He couldn't really beat him technically in a handicap 3-on-1 steel cage match at Extreme Rules. It took a fourth member of the Wyatt family to help ensure Bray Wyatt's victory, and that was a kid singing a freaking song in a freaking choir robe. And now we get here to this last man standing match, and people are talking about this is an original creative finish. Oh, you mean like the other times when Cena has used some type of bullshit cheating tactics to win a last man standing match, like duct taping Batista's ankles and feet to the damn ropes? Or burying Wade Barrett in a sea of chairs at TLC 2010? What's so original and creative about this? It's the same old Super Cena, super bullshit. Did anybody that chose to apologize for this match and talk about this being a great match happen to notice that Super Cena actually trended worldwide on Twitter last night? And for all the people that said, yeah, in spite of the finish, it was still a really good match. Again, just because the match has a bunch of spots that you like does not make it a good fucking match. Furthermore, isn't the whole purpose of it to tell a story, to get to the end and have the ending deliver? You don't go to the movies and say, hey, the first hour and 15 minutes was really great. The last 15 to 20 minutes absolutely sucked, so it was still a good movie. No, that makes absolutely no sense. If anything, the rest of the movie could suck. The last 15 or 20 minutes really deliver, really suck you in, and really make you like it. And as a result, that becomes a good movie. If this entire match sucked, but the finish worked well, and it went together well, and it pieced together well, and accomplished what it really needed to accomplish instead of what the WWE did, then it actually could at least be viewed as a somewhat passable, if not okay or good match. This was trash. This was boo-boo. It was overbooked to the fucking hill. It became a glorified last man standing 6-man tag match. And of course, with the Wyatt family and Bray Wyatt, they can't win 1-on-1. They can't win 3-on-1 against Super Cena. So how do you think it's going to go when it's 3-on-3 and it's actually a fair fight? If anything, it becomes an inherently unfair fight. Tired of people defending this bullshit when it comes to John Cena and the WWE. No, this was not a good fucking match. No, the finish was not good. It was fucking stupid. And no, this is not a good loss for Bray Wyatt, you stupid fucks. He lost to him at WrestleMania 30 in a 3-on-1 glorified handicap match. He couldn't even beat him 3-on-1 in a glorified handicap steel cage match at Extreme Rules. It took a kid singing in a choir robe as a fourth member of the Wyatt family to stop Cena in his tracks. That way Bray Wyatt could actually win. And then we get here to the last man standing match. Why couldn't this have just been one-on-one? Why couldn't you sit there and if you wanted to go with some type of bullshit where you protect Cena, have both individuals get counted out for 10? What's wrong with that? I'll tell you what's wrong with that. It doesn't allow the WWE to protect their incessant pounding of Cena down our throats month after month, year after year. Ladies and gentlemen, stop making excuses for this. This is garbage. This was trash. And fuck John Cena and the WWE for killing yet another young talent. I was hopeful, but deep down I knew better. Divas Championship match. I knew Alicia Fox was going to entertain me more. That happened. So, of course, Paige bored the brakes off of me. No surprise. Thanks, WWE, for making her completely uninteresting and not entertaining to me whatsoever. Not one single iota. And Paige wins the freaking match. Oh, God. Paige is quickly becoming, if she's not already there, an incredibly boring champion. And I don't even blame Paige for this. WWE, what in the fuck are you doing with her? To me, the main event, above all else, is the match that is expected to deliver the most, because that is going to be the last impression of the show, the pay-per-view, what have you. That is the one that's supposed to send the people home happy. So from my perspective, when I don't like a main event match or I flat out hate a main event match, that's not a good omen for my thoughts on the rest of the show. And I'm sorry, but this main event, no holds barred elimination tag match was brutal. It was bad. Terrible. And now I'll tell you why. First off, this is supposed to be a no holds barred elimination tag match. So why for like the first almost, 20 minutes, are they wrestling it as a squared up, straight up tag match? You had some idiot that should know better on Twitter telling people that this was a well-produced show. How the hell is it well-produced when the people involved in the main event match with a special stipulation, that basically equates to a form of a no DQ match, don't even remember the damn stipulation of the match? Furthermore, why are we having referee distractions in a freaking no-holds-barred elimination tag match? Furthermore, you have the Shield, the young, hungry, up-and-coming, impressive Lions that are leaving a lot of carnage in their wake. And you have the old guard, the veterans, the champions like Evolution, Triple H, and Randy Orton, and Batista. You've got a no-holds-barred elimination tag match. You would think in this instance, where these guys have youth and athleticism and quickness on their side, that the veterans would have experience and intellect and guile and, just all around cerebral smarts and understanding of situations on their side. You made Evolution look like idiots here for like the first 20 minutes of the match. In my opinion, with this being a no-holds-barred elimination tag match, you should have freaking had Shield come out first, and then here comes Evolution, and then here they fucking come, and guess what? They've all got fucking weapons. Batista's got a chair. Randy Orton's got a kendo stick. Triple H has got a fucking sledgehammer. And they immediately come down the ramp and they go to fucking town on the Shield. And they beat the piss out of them. And they beat the shit out of them. And then they pin them one at a time. Match is over. And then they proceed to beat them down and beat the piss and beat the shit out of them even more. Instead, you made Evolution look like idiots here. These guys, if anything, should have known better this was a no-holds-barred elimination tag match. Then they finally, 20-plus minutes into this fucking long-ass match that seemed like it would never end, actually started to remember that, hey, this was a no-holds-barred elimination tag match. We could go out of the ring. We could triple-team this guy, and there's no consequences to it. And then when they did this in an elimination tag, instead of getting guys 3-on-1 and then just quickly eliminating Roman Reigns and then doing it with the next guy and doing it with the next guy, instead they're fucking around and doing a bunch of stupid shit that veteran champions should know better than to do. This was stupid. On so many different fucking levels. And then what was really stupid about this was you had Evolution go out 1, 2, 3. All 3 members of the Shield fucking advance. So again, it's more of that monstrous babyface booking where the heels end up being the babyfaces because it feels like they have no chance to win. They have to resort to cheap shots and cheap trick tactics because they can't square off against the babyfaces straight up legit. And how ridiculous is it that a faction of Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista, even in this year of 2014, at their advanced ages, especially in the case of Triple H, and definitely Batista, hashtag Blue Tista, hashtag Bald Tista. Ooh, I didn't realize Batista was going so bald. You made these guys look like chump jokes and idiots. And you had the Shield go over them. And now, of course, some people are using this as an attempt to create some creative spin and say, to all the people that sat there and said that Triple H doesn't put over the young talent, skipty whoopty woo. It's a much different perspective for a Triple H now. He has to look at this more from a businessman standpoint and long-term ramifications of what he did as opposed to when he was a top guy talent as a full-time ring talent. That's a different situation. Let's not get it twisted here. Just because recent history has been a lot better doesn't mean that the overall history is all that good. Ask CM Punk how working out with Triple H goes. People are so selective in their fucking memories and choose to forget these things that are staring them right in the fucking face. I'm sorry, but this match was stupid. This match was trash. The finish was trash. The fact that they didn't even properly follow the stipulation of the match for over 20 minutes is fucking trash. The match and the length that it went was way too fucking long, and that made it feel like boring trash. And if anything to me, it felt like the perfect culmination to this pay-per-view. Oh, it's a new generation. It's a new start. And talking about, oh, this really sets up Triple H and Roman Reigns very well, maybe for SummerSlam. Why? How does it set that up well? Roman Reigns' group has already beaten Evolution once. Then they come here and steamroll through Evolution again. At this point in time, why should Roman Reigns even waste his fucking time with the Triple H? And if Triple H went on and beat Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, I wouldn't accomplish anything either because the people like me would talk about how he buried a young up-and-coming guy, and at the same point in time, everybody would queef at it and fart at it and say, I can't believe that happened. Evolution could beat the fucking Shield, but Triple H could beat a monster like Roman Reigns one-on-one? This was a joke. An absolute joke. And this show was an absolute joke of a show. Monster booking for most of the baby faces. Super Cena reigns supreme instead of overcoming obstacles. He is the fucking obstacle. And a disappointing main event that failed to deliver. Sounds like the WWE of today for me.